All right, good afternoon, everyone, and it's a privilege, obviously, to speak at IMARC, and I think this is a wonderful forum where we have the opportunity to showcase new technologies in the mining industry. This conference overall, and this event in particular, this room in particular, IMDEX has been a long-time supporter of IMARC, and so my thanks to the organisers for once again putting on a quality event. I might start just briefly introducing a little bit about IMDEX and what IMDEX seeks to do in the mining industry. We are an ASX-listed, ASX 200 mining tech firm, headquartered in Perth, but we have physical operations in over 25 countries around the world and sales in over 100 countries around the world. We seek to provide integrated solutions that need to work together instead of individual spot solutions, and increasingly that is important in unlocking full systems benefits for our customers. And we service over 150 drilling contractors, over 500 resource companies, and increasingly we're finding ways to collaborate with a wide range of partners, all of whom have ideas, capabilities, technologies that bring solutions to address the mining industry's larger challenges around productivity, and it's some of those that I'd like to talk to you today. That network of ours gives us some pretty unique visibility to a lot of customers around the world, a lot of different stakeholders in that mining value chain around what those challenges are. And as such, we're very well positioned to speak to some of the main challenges that we see. And my remarks today are going to talk about 4 of those in some detail and some examples about how we're seeing those being addressed and increasingly adopted by the industry. The industry is in a unique situation where I think for the first time in my nearly 40 years in the sector, mining as an industry is being increasingly recognised, accepted and embraced by the wider societal, the wider societies in which we operate for its ability to meet our broader societal aspirations and needs. We know that our operating costs more broadly are increasing, and we have an opportunity to respond to that in the form of improving productivity. In many cases, productivity in our industry is being driven by increases in scale or reductions in cost, as opposed to efficient deployment of new technologies, new ways of working, and finding ways to unlock value for the complete system, as opposed to a particular cost centre and the like. So the question for us is, how do we deliver more? How do we deliver high-quality data at speed, with the confidence to make decisions in real time or near real time, without compromising sustainability and the broader objectives of our organisations? To us, productivity isn't just about tonnes per shift, it's that flow of trusted information that connects geoscience, engineering, management and financial stakeholders more broadly. We believe we can shorten the distance between measurement and decision making, and we can help change the economics of mining itself, but it requires collaboration across multiple parties. I'm going to talk about the challenge in 4 key areas. As I said earlier, our global reach gives us a bit of a unique insight as to what we see as the key challenges. Chief amongst them would be talent and the attractiveness of the mining sector to the industry overall as a choice or a career for our emerging workforce. Many of you would be familiar about the declining enrolments in geoscience and mining engineering schools all around the world. Now, there is, in each of these major challenges, there are some kernels, some bright spots and some areas that I think reflect the increasing adoption or the awareness of society about the importance of mining. So whereas this chart, which is only 3.5 years old, shows mining's acceptance as a career choice well at the tail end of any other particular domain, we are seeing more recently an increase in enrolments in universities like the University of Queensland, the University of British Columbia, which I think promote opportunities. Conversely, we still have a number of universities around the world that are questioning whether they should maintain their engineering programs, mine engineering programs, specifically such as Cranbourne in the UK. And so I'm hopeful that more of the universities that have world-class programs also start to see the benefit of it being a preferred destination for that next generation of talent that we need. Of course, the challenge for us is, as that workforce comes in, they're replacing an aging, highly experienced workforce that is at the tail end of their career. We aren't seeing talent come into the industry at the same rate that it's going out. And so the productivity challenge for us is how do we find, train, and encourage that talent to do more with less. And many of the technologies you will have heard in this room today and tomorrow speak to that opportunity. We'd be well aware about inflation more broadly and the rising cost environment that we face in all countries around the world, and mining is not immune. Importantly, we have seen those costs fall into a number of categories. So whether it is the rising cost of labour, with unemployment still remaining relatively low in a number of key mining jurisdictions, Canada, US and Australia in particular, and you're competing with talent, competing for talent with other industries, which is paid for with those rising labour costs. You're also seeing increased administration in the form of red tape or green tape. And the way that plays out is that whereas previously for every dollar that went into exploration, 55 cents would go into the drill rig, over the last 3 years, that's contracted quite significantly to 45 cents. And so until you do significant amounts of drilling to prove up your reserves, you haven't solved the broader challenge in the industry. And so we, at every segment within that exploration cost bucket, we need to find ways to bring meaningful productivity improvements to the entire drilling system or ecosystem. Thirdly, we think that the challenge around ore body complexity, again well articulated, is not yet fully addressed. New ore bodies continue to be discovered only at depth and under greater cover, or tend to be more complex and more difficult to yield economically. There's a dearth of new greenfield discoveries. And it might surprise you to know that in undertaking a $1 billion capital investment decision to develop a mine, typically those decisions are made on less than 1% of the available knowledge around that ore body. And that would be a little bit like you buying a $2 million home in Sydney by never attending the home open. And so the challenge within our industry is how can we increase the availability of information in volume and quality and speed collectively. Last week, Paul Mitchell from Ernst & Young published updated his annual report on the key challenges facing the mining sector. Of interest to me is you'll see that items 1, 2 and 6 speak directly to the 3 main challenges that we think are most visible to IMDEX and its network around the world. Interestingly, we feel a strong connection between digital innovation as a potential partner or solution to some of those rising challenges. And although it ranks down at number 8 in the list, you can see it is moving up, and I think it was number 10 last year. And so the convergence of these challenges is where I think we have our greatest opportunity to partner and collaborate with participants trying to solve the same problem and delivering them in meaningful ways to the resource companies. But what's it worth? IMDEX, together with the MDRU and UBC, undertook a study of every resource company impairment reported to capital markets over the last 10 years. In total, there were just under 300 impairments in the last decade, totaling just under 130 billion US dollars in value being written off. Over half of those impairments were directly attributable to a lack of understanding of the ore body at the time of undertaking the investment, leading to a direct write-down as they entered the production phase and understood more broadly the geology. Often, in order to deal with what they feel as rising costs and risk, mining companies have been reducing greenfield exploration, and we have seen greenfield exploration fall by about 50% over the last decade, leading to that dearth in discoveries in the greenfield space in that same time. With new discoveries around brownfield dominating where exploration spend of choice is being directed. That said, a recent study by Wood & Mackenzie has identified that the capital intensity of developing a brownfield extension is no less expensive than a greenfield development. And so it isn't a shortcut and it still has all of the same challenges that a greenfield development might otherwise have. And so then the fourth of the challenges that we see most broadly from a productivity perspective relates to time. It's well known that to bring a copper mine from discovery through to production can be 18 to 20 years. It's well known that permitting decisions through external parties can impact time. It's well known that environmental approvals for development are increasingly lengthening both exploration and development timelines. And so when we do have the opportunity to engage with the ore body, how much more data can we collect at speed? And so every IMDEX technology that we invest in as an organisation seeks to address one or more of these four challenges with a view to directly addressing productivity for the industry. So the digital transformation for us relates to how do we find ways in which we can increase the speed, volume and quality of data to inform decision making faster. And we target technologies that can be deployed either downhole or top of hole as the earliest stage of finding out where we can make more informed choices. Recognising, of course, that there are other mining tech companies that exist upstream and downstream of where IMDEX plays that can also deploy their technologies and play a role. We think one of the most important ingredients to the development of solutions for productivity for an end-to-end mining system is going to be collaboration. And whilst you'll see many technologies lay claim to the full benefit of what they might do, and I do remember talking to a major resource company CEO, and he said if I added up the contribution from every technology provider, I would be delivering 180% of iron ore that was otherwise available. And so recognising that actually you need these different technologies to work together, how do we find ways to collaborate and share that information across the entire mining system? And that means we have to find a way to turn data into a financial asset so it can be acted on meaningfully. At IMDEX, our portfolio of technologies spreads across two broad platforms. Our drill site technologies, recognising hardware technology that could be deployed downhole or top hole to either speed the drilling process, improve its accuracy and safety, and collect as much data as possible from the borehole. And increasingly, all of those activities originate data around the exploration process. And increasingly, we're shifting from how do we not just originate data around the ore body, but start to help you make that next best decision or enrich that data. And to that end, IMDEX has made a number of investments over the past 3 years. And I'm going to touch on a couple of these briefly. Every one of these investments was made directly with the view to finding ways to improve productivity. The first is directional drilling and the acquisition that IMDEX made of Devico nearly 3 years ago. And the last three I'll talk about collectively, which are much more around the digital, using data and turning that data into a financial asset. Directional drilling is part of our drilling optimization portfolio, which helps customers drill accurately to target and with greater speed in order to collect as much information around the ore body. Our drilling optimization portfolio includes both the directional drilling technology from Devico as well as the Crux drilling analytics platform that we have invested in. Collectively, you are providing accuracy, speed, and the data insights, particularly the metadata insights around the drilling process. The technology that we acquired from Devico is originally oil and gas technology, where nearly 100% of oil and gas boreholes use advanced directional technology. In mining, whilst conventional directional techniques such as wedging and downhole motors are deployed quite widely, advanced directional technologies are deployed in less than 5% of all drill holes. Now, the opportunity is enhanced as ore bodies become deeper, and certainly the case study on the screen in front of you is from Anglo. And the way to look at this case study is that every one of the white dots represents a target from surface that Anglo wished to identify in their finish program. That body of work would normally have taken them 2 drilling seasons to accomplish, and they would have had to drill multiple boreholes from surface to each of those targets. Using the Devico DCD technology, they were able to drill a single pilot hole from surface, minimising the environmental footprint, and able to then use the directional core barrel to collect data from each of those targets, hitting each of those targets, recovering the core through the bend. You can do that without slowing down the drill speed. You can do it without an increase in water pressure. You can do it without compromising collection of the core. Anglo themselves identified that this reduced the time, the elapsed time, by 50%. So they shortened a 2-year drill program to 1. And they identified the total cost of the drilling program to be reduced by 66%. And increasingly, we are finding exploration managers now in every continent around the world finding ways to deploy directional in this manner. Directional, the Crux analytics platform and our fluid engineering services collectively we have a number of case studies on our website, which are all illustrative. They're obviously, geology being what it is, unique to a number of projects or unique to the specific project. But we can increasingly, through integrated solutions, deliver upwards of 40 to 60% improvements in overall efficiency and outcomes or cost per metre when you look at the total cost of ownership of a drilling program. That speaks to some of the drilling practices and the metadata collected around the drilling. But what's really exciting is how important data collection is becoming and the insights that it can generate. The most recent investments that IMDEX have made have been in 3 areas, and the panel, I think, that follows this is going to specifically address, well, how do you take data and the AI insights that are often deployed and actually make a meaningful assessment of how to measure a return or deploy them safely into a mining environment. Crux is a drilling analytics platform that provides real-time optimization and productivity insights. Over 70% of drill sites still use bespoke paper or Excel-based systems to collect their data, limiting the ability to perform any meaningful analysis. DataRock is an orebody geotechnical and image analytics platform that automates rock knowledge through machine learning and AI tools. It leverages the core imagery that nearly every mine has around the world, sometimes decades of data, meaning there is nothing more you need to do to start collecting those insights. And where sending core to the laboratory takes both time and a range of $30 to $40 per metre, DataRock can give you a range of insights in near real time for as little as $2 a metre, enabling you then to make the next best decision from those insights. And Earth Science Analytics is a cloud-native geoscience AI platform that seeks to solve a couple of challenges. How can you ingest all data sets that you originate from different suppliers and give them context and make decisions that have context across those data sets? How can you do it in a way that is cloud agnostic, which ESA has done? And recognizing that one of the barriers to analyzing data sets is getting them all onto the same cloud platform. If you speak to Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they will tell you that their business model is about 70% compute, 20% haulage, and 10% storage. The ability to analyze data where it is, agnostic of whatever platform, directly addresses that 20% of haulage costs that you would otherwise be incurring. Each layer of this stack, combined with the existing IMDEX technologies, gives us the ability to front-load decision-making for our customers. These technologies are capable today, they're available today, they're in the market today, they have proven use cases today. The single biggest challenge we face as an industry is how do we collaborate with other partners servicing the industry to put different data sets together and to help our customers undertake the change management that's required. And so as we look forward, I think the challenges we face are particularly real for us as an industry. And yet, never before have there been more bright spots in terms of available technology and proven use cases. And with that, I think the next 3 to 5 years prove to be pretty exciting for both IMDEX and anyone else who's involved in this space. And we look forward to working with them. That's it from me. Thank you very much.